Good morning, everyone. I just realized in my other video that I said Jose, not Josh, but you guys know me as both. But g'day, guys, it's Josh, and we're going to go with part 3. I actually figured I'd do 3 parts today, or 2 parts today, because I'm just like, I've got a lot on my mind, and I'm, seeing my hands at the moment at home, and I'll talk about number 3 being caster politics, okay? It's probably the worst part of the job, we're going to say right now, is because there's always little cliques and stuff like that around with casters and stuff like that. There are people who are heavily into it, very, very cast politicking and make their way to the top. They generally get themselves filtered out the scenes when they piss off the people who aren't really involved. And there's people who just coast along, don't really get into it and stuff like that, and probably don't take sides until they absolutely need to. And generally, some of these people get stabbed in the back quite often because of it. Now, caster politics, it can be, as Richard Lewis has called Tier 2, Tier 3 CSGO, it can be a bit of a viper's nest. And these are the things that you got to watch out for, because some casters will try and do this as well, and it's kind of the desperation that comes with the career as well. And I did talk about it in part 1, saying that, sometimes people get a bit desperate and do some really, really, not out of character things, but really, really unethical things, basically. And that's just to really talk about as well, and what to kind of expect if you've met one of these characters before. And generally, you don't really see it until after the fact, okay, that it's happened to you, because generally they're very, very sneaky about it, and you don't see it until the end, of course, or until you realize it's over, kind of thing. And there's one example of it as well. This happened to Seaside ages back, where he was getting backstabbed effectively and didn't realize it until after he retired and went to Valorant, okay? So it can happen. So the cast politics and stuff like that, there's a few things that can occur, and there's a few things that, some casters had to suffer with as well, which is Dust is one of them as well, with the Lesron Probs, whatever noobs report, whatever it was, in DreamHack. That's, one example where people will bring it up, be like, oh, you really want him? He's got this, blah, blah, blah. And, he probably still hasn't learned from it. That's kind of like Rheumatoid. There's a lot of Rheumatoid going around as well. I've also, as I said, I've participated in Rheumatoid, given of what I've heard from other casters. And sometimes you hear really, really awful rumors about people, and, whether to react on it or go on it, or just hold it in and don't get really involved in it. Now, I've had a few rumors go my way, mainly to the NA scene, as I've disclosed previously, where the NA scene were basically going to bottom of the barrel with undercutting. And this comes to the second point. So the first point is Rheumatoid. So first point is basically Rheumatoid. I've had some casters even spread rumors about other casters to TOs to not hire them, so they get a bunch of the pickings basically. And the other caster may be none the wiser to it. They'll be just thinking, oh, I got denied because I'm not good enough. But in reality, maybe one of the casters has effectively stabbed them in the back. Now, this isn't really prevalent in the AU scene, or I'm not sure about the EU and NA scene, but not prevalent as much as may sound it out to be. But it's just something to keep an eye out, okay? That, some people get desperate. Some people, see people as threats. It's a very competitive industry. And they start lashing out and biting people, and basically trying to take people out of the industry that seems to be a threat or will rise above them, basically. It's just the essence of competition, and some people can be very, very underhanded with it. Now, the Rheumatoid one is kind of a scary one, because you never get to say your side sometimes until you actually reach out to the people, and they respond to you saying that you've done this or done this, and you'd be like, what? I never said that. Who said that? And, it gets into that, and you realize that, someone's basically cutting you under your own feet, and that's why you haven't been getting any gigs, okay? And that's one thing. I've had one instance of Rheumatoid where some guy sent some documents to a TO, and we're trying to get this duo basically not being able to cast this event, okay? And that's one example. And also, not to mention, the TO is like, there's too much drama, we're not going to hire either of you. And they cost them a gig, okay? Which was quite, disgusting and unfortunate. And you got to realize that's what you may have to be going through. Now, the other part is undercutting. Undercutting happens often accidentally or deliberately, okay? So basically, some casters are desperate for exposure, that they'll undercut another caster that deliberately, so they'll get exposure and the other caster will lose out and not get exposure. Now, this is the problem that some casters have. Some casters are desperate for exposure, that they'll accept $10 or $10 US a BO1 or something like that. Something way lowball that they should never accept just for exposure. Just an FYI, reason why that doesn't work is, one, the TO will always remember that you want to be paid that much and will only offer you that much. And when you go up, They might offer it to another caster, and then your fear jumps in, being like, oh no, if I don't get this, I don't get that. Because, some of these casters live day by day or paycheck by paycheck with casting, so that's where the desperation comes in, okay? And they'll do that. They will undercut deliberately just to make sure they get the paycheck. And the other side is that if they find out, and likely they will, because people do talk to TOs, and they do try to offer the same rate, and stuff like that, you will not be popular with a lot of other casters, okay? Regarding that, not to mention you won't be popular with the caster collective, because our main entire goal is to make sure casters get paid a decent wage. And generally, when people do this undercutting stuff, it basically sends a message to the TO that they can play the casters against each other. And the TOs love that because they don't want to play casters. They don't want to pay casters so much. Okay, they want to pay casters as least as they can as part of their, budget. Okay, they don't want to be paying you as much as that you could be worth. Now, the second part, which is the most common part, is the accidental undercut. Okay, and a lot of people have done this. Okay, a lot of people have done this in the industry. Okay, where they have no idea what they are worth. Okay, they have no understanding of what they are worth and how time and business is measured. Okay. Because a lot of these people are young kids, okay? They're like, let's just say, they're in their teens, late teens, early 20s, and they've never run a business in their life, okay? So they don't know, they haven't put a value on their time, and they accidentally undercut people. Let's say, for example, someone does $10 for a beer one because it's like pocket money, it's just free money for them, basically, okay? They don't understand that an hour of their time is worth a minimum wage, okay? And minimum wage also plus leave and all that stuff as well. So let's just say your minimum wage is $15 and you get a day of leave every fortnight. Basically, you got to value that, day of leave plus the $15, so $17.5 or whatever, for example. Don't quote the maths at me, but you got to value your time that way, okay, as minimum wage. But you want to be paid above minimum wage because you work as well out of the scene, out of the casting as well, and you've really got to value yourself. And a lot of people don't, and then they get labeled with the undercutter brand, okay, the brand undercutter, where people won't associate them because they undercut someone previously, okay. And that's a nasty, nasty brand. And if you want to get rid of that, you should talk to other casters about it and say, I didn't know, and I was completely unaware. Okay? Some casters also as well, like, there's deliberate ones, which I guess are few far between now. There's no race to the bottom anymore with casters and TOs. It's actually been very, very good. It's actually been the TOs trying to get casters set to lower wages. And some casters have walked away as well from those deals. And that's very, very important. Is if you feel desperate enough that you need money, all I say to newer casters is, if you are getting paid less than minimum wage for a cast, go stack shelves. Go to your local shopping center, Woolworths, Quillies, whatever it is, and literally just ask to stack shelves because you get paid more than casting a CSGO game, and you can phone that in at any time, okay? Like, you can easily stack shelves, it's not hard, and stuff like that. And, that's an easier way to do it instead of, basically undercutting the industry and hurting the industry overall. Now, what undercutting does to the industry, it basically sends a message to the TO is that they can pay someone this amount and maybe get a serviceable product out of them instead of paying for higher product and stuff like that. It also sends a message that that's your going price, okay? And you want to keep upping that going price and stuff like that as well, and keep the TO on their toes and saying you're not going to accept a lower price, or basically send out to be like, hey, this is a discount price in the future, you will not get this, okay? I'll charge this and stuff like that. Or give a reason why you're giving a discount, okay? To keep them aware that you value your time, but you're only doing this for this one special time, and your usual rate is this and that. Now, a lot of casters do not disclose their rates. The reason why is because they are potential deliberate undercutters, and they do not know you well enough if you're one of those deliberate undercutters, okay, that will do this. So that's why they keep their rates close to their chest, because they are worried that someone's going to go $5 lower and essentially take their job, especially if they're living off casting as well. You want to keep your cards close to your chest as well. I don't. Everyone knows my casting rates, and every single every single monetary thing I've been offered. $150 for BA free with ESL. Got paid $50 to 50 euros to run the ads. Got paid 50 euros for one BO1, and for producing, I got paid 100 EU. So you can tell right now that I'm very open and transparent about my rates, and I hope casters are in the future. But I do understand why they keep it secret to their chest as well, because they don't want anyone else to know as well. So we've gone through Rheumatoid, we've gone through undercutting, as cast politics and stuff like that. Now, I'm trying to figure out the third one. There's a third one that's involved, and that's generally between the TOs trying to play casters against each other. And this links to Rheumatoid and undercutting, when the TOs know something more than the casters that they are employing. So basically, blackmail and stuff like that, and that stuff gets into casting sometimes as well if you are not careful. And there are some people in talent and stuff like that that often try to use it and hold it over people's heads to make sure they don't cast certain events. And stuff like that and bullying and stuff like that can happen with casters as well. Where, casters are often left out and stuff like that without them knowing. Now, this is not always done deliberately. Like, this also goes into nepotism as well, as I said. No, I haven't said nepotism yet, but, that's one of the points I'm going to get to, is nepotism. Nepotism's one where basically it's like an old friends club and stuff like that. That can occur maliciously, and that can occur not maliciously, okay? Most of the time, a friend has a, hey, this guy's casted Rocket League before, did a really good job, I reckon he'll do a good job in CSGO. He gets in over other people who are trying to work towards it. And people see it as malicious nepotism because they don't know the fact that, he does a serviceable job in Rocket League. Because, normally people want to say, I want to be the next person up, blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, there's malicious nepotism where they will not invite someone outside a certain group and try to exclude said group. That's normally known as gatekeeping. You don't see it too often at all with deliberate, because generally with these deliberate gatekeeping people is that people find a way around it and beat them, okay? And casting one of those gigs where you can easily find your way around it. The gatekeepers can't keep the gate, basically. It's also referred to as the Ivory Tower in the AU scene, as you guys may know, with the infamous Josh A. Twit Longer. And with that part of the Ivory Tower, I don't think it's malicious nepotism. Like, a lot of those guys are really, really good casters, and they've casted other events as well, and it's just a process of, hey, they're serviceable here, why not get them again? It's kind of like, recency bias, and that's alright. I don't see any campaign out to stop any other caster to get into those leagues. Now, of course, I know some of those casters up there who've, got the skills, stuff like that, have hid certain techniques from other casters, and they have, and I know that. But that's fine. They're allowed to do that. That's their own prerogative. They're allowed to share with you their skills because they learn them themselves and put hard work into it. So maybe you should as well if you want to learn this. Okay? Like, don't hold it against them. I don't hold it against this person for doing this. Okay? But that can occur. And, that's another thing as well where casters hide stuff from other casters as well. Not maliciously, but, for their own self-benefit, which they should do. I'd agree with that as well. Now, the nepotism, as I said in the AU scene, someone accused AU scene of having nepotism. Not much at all. Okay, like just because Mac, Elvish Guy, Karaf, Pilsky, and I think Jim, which is a Brainstorm cast, I believe, just because they get picked every single time, and then you got Komodo and Conky who are basically the rear guard after that, they can reserve. Just because they get picked every time doesn't mean nepotism. Okay, it doesn't mean nepotism whatsoever. Okay. Despite the fact I do want to be on ESL Australia, that's besides the point. It's not nepotism, okay? Just because, they know Conky and Komodo have provided good jobs before, a good duo. Why not pick them up? Okay, it's not like just those 5 are picking every single cast member that they want to and stuff like that as well. And at the same time, people confuse nepotism as wanting a good broadcast, okay? If they're all friends and stuff like that, you generally want that on broadcast, okay? Like, good friends and know how to work off each other and stuff like that. Because that improves the broadcast at the same time. Now, there's bad nepotism where, there's clearly a person that would be good for the gig and stuff like that, but that everyone else is afraid of losing to them, basically, okay? And if they lose to them, then basically they are, open Pandora's box and they'll never get gigs again, okay? And I've seen that happen, okay? Not much at all, okay? I know Bardolph infamously was like, there's people out to get me and stuff like that, and it was at the PGL Major, by the way. And well, in the end, there was nothing. There was actually a good explanation on why that occurred and what had happened. Now, that's the 4th point of caster politics as well. Never air dirty briefs during a tournament, okay? Never ever do that, okay? And never go on, amplify some big nuke as well and just nuke your own career and then make smarmy comments at every single caster and every single thing that, the reason why the league's failing and not having coverage is because you're not there. And I think everyone knows who I'm talking about this week. Because I think that's really, really rude and really, really discouraging to other casters as well, who may be working their asses off. And I think it's very, very mean to basically kick a league or kick a person when they're down, when you are able to do something about it, okay? I mean, everyone knows the story of Spider-Man, okay? So if you have the power to do so, then do it. And then, don't be pour salt in the wounds and stuff like that when I see him struggling, if you can help him out, do it. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it. That's the cast politics in a nutshell. Gave you a brief explanation of stuff to watch out for and stuff like that. And also meant to mention as well, just talk to each other, and not every Fingo is just a the basically Doctor Doom or a cartoon villain that they're out to get you. Basically, paranoia will get you killed in this industry, so don't do it. Okay, like, subscribe, and share the video if you enjoyed it. Josh going out. See you later.